All right, I taught myself a new trick and it's time to share it with you. I am using my Icom 7300 and I have a secondary receive that's not connected to the radio and it's not connected to anything here in the shack. So how do I use an SDR with my 7300? I'm going to show you coming up next. Are you having trouble sometimes hearing that other station on the other side? Is QRM getting in your freaking way? Do you just wish you had different receive options? Like, if I had another antenna, or maybe somebody else's antenna. I've got a new trick for you. It's helped me out. I've even made contacts with people I couldn't hear on my own radio, but they could hear me fine, and we still made the contact. I guess that's still legit. So stay with me and let me show you what I've done. All right. So with SDR Console, what I've been doing is using this to listen to stations that I may not be able to hear locally, but I can hear on somebody else's station with somebody else's antenna in a different location. So as you can see right here, I have a camera set up in the lower left is showing my Icom 7300. You can see that it's mine. I'm putting my hand in front of it. All right. There is really no signals on 6 meter right now here in Echo Mike 54 in North Mississippi. But you can see in the big screen behind us that there is signals on this SDR program. So if I unmute the audio to my 7300, you can see that I am not receiving these stations that are on the scope. But if I will mute the 7300 and listen to the SDR. So this is an SDR out of New Hampshire that I happen to connect to. It's got a good receive on it, and it allows me to hear these stations. So sometimes what I can do is, although that I can't hear the station locally, I can throw my call sign out when they call QRZ for another station, and they may come back to me. And also, I may be able to hear them better on the SDR than I can locally, so I can hear what they're saying better and complete the contact, especially if there's a lot of band fading locally. There may not be so much on the other end at another station somewhere. So that's what I have been using SDR Console for, and I'm going to show you how to set this up and get it working for you. If you have a 7300 and the same software that I've got, this is how you're going to be able to do it. I'll try to step you through it. All right, so I mentioned if you're using a 7300 or a radio that has a sound card built in, if you have an external sound card, this may still be possible, but for this video, I am using the 7300. Any radio that has a built-in sound card should work about the same. Some additional software that I use to do this besides SDR Console is audio routing software. And you see, I got my headphones on, and this is where I listen to everything. I have no external audio coming through speakers or through the 7300 speaker, nothing playing out loud. If I take my headphones off, I'm not going to hear anything unless I turn the 7300 up or I select to play it through some of my shelf speakers. So first thing that I use is, and this is debatable, but this is what I've got set up. I use Voicemeeter Banana to route my microphone audio to my 7300 or my 705. This is all that I use this for. You see, here's my microphone, and it is selected to route to my 7300. My 705 is not turned on at the moment. That's why it's showing red and you're not seeing anything there. But this is how I split my audio from the microphone that I'm using in the computer out to the 7300 or the 705. That's the only thing I'm using Voicemeeter Banana for now, because since I got my new microphone, which is a Presonus Revelator USB Dynamic, I use the built-in software that comes with it, and it looks something like this. So this is the program I'm using to, Windows wants to do Windows things. I'm using this to bring my audio from the radios and the computer to my headphones. And this is what I'd use to mute different sources coming to my ears so that I can make a little bit more sense out of what I'm hearing. You see, this is my microphone input here, and here is my 7300 audio. The recording program right now is listening to mix A, and I've got everything muted, but if I unmute the 7300, then you can hear the radio noise coming through the audio there. I mute it, you can't hear it anymore. Same thing, I see I've got it selected here, so if I unmute, you can't hear it, but now I can. So this comes in handy when I'm on stream or doing other things, trying to listen to stuff, and I can adjust the audio levels. If you have a microphone that has its own software, this makes it a little easier. All right, so you don't have software maybe to route to your headphones, or you don't like wearing headphones. The problem would be listening to the SDR. When you went to transmit, the SDR would still be playing over your speakers, which would get into your transmit audio through your microphone, and you don't want that. So there is a trick that you can do in the software where you can use external speakers, and it's pretty neat. So once you get the external radio set up and everything, you'll go over here to the little question mark. You click on that, it'll bring up the external radio option. You'll go down here to transmit, and then you can select reduce IQ data, or you can completely have it mute audio. So when you hit the transmit button, then your Omni rig is going to tell the SDR console that you're transmitting, and it will mute the audio to your speakers so that it doesn't get it back into your microphone. Now, I like to still hear it so I can hear if my signal is getting to the SDR that I'm listening to, and I can make sure that my on-air audio is sounding okay, but I don't want it real loud, so I use reduced IQ data by 10 decibels. So I can still hear myself, but it's not loud enough to where it would confuse me while I talk because of the little delay. So keep that in mind. All right, the first thing you're going to need to do is go to SDR-radio.com and go to the download section and get you a copy of SDR Console. The current version we're using is 3.2, and we are using it on a Windows machine. So you can go and grab that, get that installed. It's not too much to set up. So you'll notice here, this is also what I'm using. I'm also using Win4 Icom. This is my rig control software. I use Win4 Icom. One great feature it has these multiple settings where you can put in virtual ports. So the Win4 Icom program is not just hogging up the connection to your radio. This allows you to get your logger and FT8, other stuff like that, hooked up, reading and communicating with your radio. Okay, so this is pretty important. If you're not using a program that allows virtual ports like Win4 Icom, hamradio Deluxe, probably, I've never used that. So I don't know if you're going to have a program that allows you to do virtual ports. That's what I use along with Log4OM. So Log4OM is using for cat control. That's not the right one. For cat control, we're using Omni rig. Show cat interface. Here you go. So you see rig 1 is 703, which I've got it set up to run the 705. And then my 7300 is set up on rig 2. You'll notice my 7300, the COM port is actually, I think, COM port 4. But on here, you see it says COM port 13. Well, that's because I'm using one of the virtual ports from Win4 Icom so that I can still control the rig by, double clicking on my cluster and going straight to that frequency and filling in the call sign and all that good stuff. Or I can do it by going down here and changing the frequency and stuff here as well. And it works both ways. So it keeps everything communicating. All right, enough of that. We're going to SDR Console. I'm going to open this up. All right, so now I've got SDR Console pulled up. See if I can make myself a little smaller for you folks. All right, SDR is going to show up and it's going to ask you to select radio. All right, I'm gonna go over to local, because when you first do it, you're not gonna have anything on your radios. And you're gonna go through here and you're like, man, how do I connect my 7300? Like, I'm thinking, well, if I could just feed the audio from my 7300 into this SDR program, then I could get the band scope and stuff. Wrong. It don't work that way. Not that I figured. I ain't been able to trick it yet. So let's close out of that. And we're gonna go. We gotta go to settings, options, Persuado, stereo. Now I like this. You need to play with it. I adjusted it just a little bit, not much. But while I was receiving some audio, after you get your audio, your stuff set up, you can go back here, and this really makes the voice stand out a little bit from the noise. To me, anyway. Some people may not like it, but I suggest playing with the stereo settings once you get it going. Controllers. Well, this is all the COM ports. Yeah, I've got several COM ports here. Now, I went through and I made another virtual port on Win4 Icom, port 13. All right, so port 1 is COM12 when the pair to COM12 is number 13. So that's what my Omni rig is using to speak with the software already. So this needs Omni rig to read the frequency from my radio. Man, I about pulled my hair out. I couldn't get it to work for anything. Well, lo and behold, finally done enough Google search that I found out that what you have to do is go into your Omni rig directory, find your Omni rig application. We're going to go to search Omni rig. It's right there. I'm not going to click on it because that'll open it, right? So right click, open file location, and then there's Omni rig. But this is a shortcut. It's got a little arrow. So that's not where I want. So I go open file location again. Now I'm in the root directory of the program. This is very important or it's not going to work. All right. And I tried upgrading. There's a new version of Omni rig that allows you to connect 4 different radios. But guess what? It doesn't work with the login software and crap. So I had to go back to the regular Omni rig. Anyway, right click. And you see run as administrator, it has to be ran every single time as administrator. So you don't want to do this every single time you go to start your software up. So go down to properties, open that up, and then compatibility. Go to compatibility and you'll see down here, run this program as an administrator. You'll check that, and really, and if you got this option down here, it says change for all settings or all users, do that. That's why it's grayed out on my other screens, because I done this just to make sure it was set globally across the computer. Okay. Run this program as administrator. That's the only thing I've got checked. Hit OK. OK. You're good to go. Anytime Omni rig starts now, it'll be run in administrator mode, and that allows you to run this program together. You can run more than one program on Omni rig by using it as administrator. Amazing. Did not know that. Opens up a whole new world. So you got some more options. This is stuff that I didn't deal with. I would just leave all this stuff alone, really, unless you had a specific need. There's really not much to set up there. And we'll go back to home up here, and we need to select a radio. So I go through and I'm like local, because I'm trying to hook my 7300 up. You go down here to definitions. You have to add definitions. Well, then you get all these different manufacturers of SDRs. Well, I ain't got an SDR. Oh, there's an Icom R8600. It doesn't work with the 7300. Deadgummit. So then we're back to SDR manufacturers, and I've got an RTL, but it's running something else, and it's dedicated to it. I figured out if you go all the way down here to the bottom, right here it says V3 server. What does that do? I click on that and it brings this up. It says auto detect. It's got a server name. This just happens to be the last server I tried to connect to. You go to browse online servers. That's interesting. It brings me a list. Look at here. We got Montana. We got nothing to see here, Montana. You got Germany, Switzerland, places just all over the place. You got Georgia, New Hampshire, Ozark Mountains, Argentina, California, Ohio, all these that are green. Guess what? You can use them. You can use somebody else's antenna. And this is neat. So I'm going to go back out because I've already added some of the ones that I like. So we're going to cancel out of this, and then you can go to all, or you can go over to server, either one. That's where your online server receivers are going to be. So let's try to connect to Georgia. Now, sometimes we'll hit connect, and then it's going to show you what receivers are available. You got an AirSpy HF Plus that is showing to be good from 0 to 30 megahertz, or you have an SDR-IQ. So you could select either one of those. If one of them was in use, it would show in between the check mark and the name, it would show in use, and you would not be able to connect to it. But we'll connect to the SDR-IQ and see what it looks like. All right. Well, here is the SDR, and there we go. But look, my radio is not on 7289. Right here, external radio. I hit the start button here, and there it is. My radio is currently on 2348, 2348, 10 meters, 28.348. And I can go over here and I can spin the dial to my radio, and it will change this SDR as well. It will swap modes. Sorry, I just realized I never showed you how to get external radio to show up on SDR Console. When you first install, you're not going to have external radio as an option by default. You're not going to see it over here in your window panes. But it's real easy. This is what we're going to do. You go to your home tab up here. Right next to it, you'll see View. Click on View, and here's your other options. You go all the way over to the right. You're going to look for the button that says Select with the 3 dots. You're going to click that, and you'll open up this window. This gives you your different panels that you can have. And we're looking for external radio right here. Put a blue check mark next to external radio, hit OK. You must restart the program, and when you restart the program, you'll have an external radio option over here. Now, it may come up like this where it's not expanded. You'll look for this little arrow on the right hand side and click that, and it will expand into your external radio window. And when you click play, it'll connect to your OmniRig. Now, you will need OmniRig already running. In my case, when I start Win4 Icom and my logger program and all that starts, it's starting OmniRig with it. So it will already be running, and I just click play. We'll go to some FT8, some RIDI going on. It's going up in the band. So there's a station in South Dakota, and there is audio directly from the 7300. There's both audio feeds. You can tell there's a little bit of a delay because you are using an online SDR. SDR 7300. So the good thing about this as well is I can about hear just as well locally or on this SDR. But what I can't do is I can't adjust these filters down kind of like I can on here, or as quickly or visually. So I really like being able to click these different filters, and you can do some funky, I don't know what all that is. So that's some of them flex people probably knows that, but you can change modes, whatever. Well, here's something else I can't do with my 7300 that I can do using this software now. I can go to receive, and I can unmute a second receiver. I got a second receiver sitting over here on 14236. All right, so I can listen to 2 different segments, and really, I could go and add another receiver. So I think flex people call that slices, maybe. I can't do that with my 7300. I can only listen to the frequency that I'm on. So this is giving me some extra capability. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll mute all of those. And I want to show you something down here at the bottom, kind of important for you to realize here. So most of these do have, you can see right down here, most of these SDRs, since they are open to the public and there's limited amounts of them for people to choose from, a lot of them has an hour time limit. So you can use it for up to an hour and then it's automatically going to disconnect you. And you can go back and instantly reconnect for another hour, but do be mindful, since there is a limited number of these. If you're not using it anymore, you're done playing with it or listening to what you want to listen to, go ahead and disconnect from it so other users can have a chance to listen to that SDR as well. All right, well, I'm going to show you a few more things, a few more examples of what I've done actually operating with this SDR program.
This is AVHAF. You are good.
Kilo 5 Yankee Victor Yankee.
The second Yankee.
Kilo 5 Yankee Victor Yankee.
Hey, go back. How are you, buddy? Kilo 5 Yankee Victor Yankee. Man, right now is 5801 Virginia. 5584.
QSL Reed, good to hear you as well. You're a 5555 into Mississippi. Mike Sierra, have fun with that new rig.
CQ POTA, Whiskey Kilo, Free Echo, calling CQ POTA and standing by.
Kilo 5 Yankee, Victor Yankee.
Kilo 5 Yankee, Victor Yankee. I'll give you a 5-7 Pennsylvania.
QSL also give you 5-7 Mississippi. Mike Sierra, have fun.
Thanks for Mississippi, thanks for hunting.
Kilo 5 Yankee, Victor Yankee. Kilo 5 Yankee, Victor Yankee.
Kilo 5 Yankee, Victor Yankee. You didn't have that 20 as much this morning, Joe. You better drink you some coffee. 59749 QSL.
QSL James, good morning to you. Yeah, still trying to wake up. 73, have fun. You're 5-9 Mississippi. And another thing I like using remote SDR for, every now and then when I'm out hunting POTA or DX station, whatever, there's a station that I'm wanting to try to make contact with. I see them on the spot page, but I cannot hear them. Well, I'll try the SDR. And if I can find an SDR that I can hear them on, when they call QRZ and ready for a new caller, I'll go ahead and throw my call sign out there, because you think if you can hear them, then they can hear you. So if you can't hear them, they're probably not going to hear you, right? Well, you'd be surprised. I've gotten 5-9 reports back, whether it was real or not. I've gotten good signal reports back from stations I couldn't hear locally, but I could hear them on the SDR, and we made the link like that, made the contact. So they never knew any different. I guess it's okay. Of course it's okay, Joe Brett. Come on. Anyway, so quick recap. You're going to need rig control software, SDR console. You're going to need to set your Omni rig under compatibility settings to administrator all the time. And you're going to need to build you a list of online SDRs. You're just going to have to try some of them, see which ones work for you, which ones you like. Some of them doesn't hear very well on the higher HF bands, I've discovered, and some of them doesn't work too good on the lower bands, just depending on what kind of antenna they have it hooked up to. So just go and have fun. If you need any more help, you can join our Discord, links in the description, send me an email, or even better, leave a comment on the video. I hope you have fun, 73, and enjoy this video right here.